You don't need to get rid of fear. Let that land for a second, because it might be the opposite of everything you've been told. You don't need to eliminate it, outsmart it, or wait until it disappears. Because let's be honest, what a lot of people do, even me, is we wait for it to disappear and it never disappears. Fear is always there. It's always going to be there. The real question was never, how do I stop being afraid? The real question is, what actually separates the people who move forward in any way from the people who stay stuck for years? That's what we're unpacking today. Welcome to the Assumption Effect. It's Charlene. So today's video is all about fear. Specifically, why your brain treats fear like a red alert. Why avoiding it makes it worse, not better. And what the exact mental reframe that lets you use fear as fuel instead of a wall. Let's get into it. Here's the first reframe, and it's the most important one. Fear is a feeling, and feelings are powerful, genuinely powerful. Don't get me wrong, but they are not instructions. Your brain doesn't distinguish very well between this is dangerous and this is unfamiliar. So when you step towards something new, a hard conversation, a career change, putting yourself out there creatively, ending a relationship that isn't serving you, your brain fires the exact same alarm it would fire if you were in an actual physical danger. Fear projects three things. It projects danger, even when there is. It projects failure, often before you've even started. And it creates stories about things that haven't happened yet and may never happen, and present those stories to you as if they were already true. If you wait for that feeling to fully disappear before you act, here's what happens. You will spend your entire life waiting. Because fear doesn't work on a timer that runs out. It works on exposure. It works on you moving toward it. This is the part most people get backwards. They assume the order of operation is feel confident, then act, wait for fear to leave, then move. And we've all been guilty on that, but it's actually the opposite. Fear doesn't go away first. You go through it first. On the other side of that walk through is growth, is experience, is actual evidence that you can survive discomfort. And that evidence is the only thing that will ever genuinely shrink the fear. Let me say that again because this really matters. The evidence that shrinks fear only exists on the other side of the action. You can't think your way to it. You can't read your way to it. You have to walk through it once, and then you'll have proof your nervous system will actually believe. This reframes what courage even means. Courage is not the absence of fear. If you're waiting to feel fearless before you act, you've mistaken confidence for a prerequisite when it's actually a byproduct. Courage is acting when you're still scared. Courage is acting when you're weak, uncertain, and shaking a little on the inside. That's the entire definition. And that willingness to act in spite of the fear, not after it's gone, is genuinely the only difference between the people who move forward and the people who stay stuck. Take courage to move. Here's something that might be uncomfortable to hear, but I think it's one of the most important things in this entire video. Inaction strengthens fear. It doesn't calm it down. It doesn't give it time to fade. Feeds it. Think about the last time you avoided something. A phone call you didn't want to make. A conversation you kept postponing. A decision you kept thinking about. Did it get smaller the longer you avoid it? Or did it get bigger? For almost everyone, it gets bigger. A 5-minute conversation turns into a source of dread. A small opportunity turns into enormous pressure. A basic everyday challenge turns into something that feels completely overwhelming. That's because fear is almost always louder in your mind than it actually is in reality. Your imagination fills the silence with worst case scenarios. And every day you don't act is another day that worst case scenarios gets rehearsed and reinforced. I want you to notice something here because it connects to a bigger theme on this channel. This is exactly the same mechanism as a limiting belief. Repetition builds the story. Whether the story is I am not good enough or this specific thing is dangerous, repetition is repetition. It doesn't care whether you're repeating is helping you or hurting you. So, if inaction is the problem, action is obviously the answer. But I want to reframe what action even means here. Because I think a lot of people picture some dramatic all or nothing leap. That's not what this is. Action works because it gives you feedback. That is the entire mechanism. You try something, you learn something from trying it, you adjust based on what you've learned. That loop, try, learn, adjust. Try, learn, adjust is the whole engine of confidence. Confidence isn't a feeling you manufacture in your head before you start. It's a byproduct of that loop running enough times. This is why one step won't change your identity, but repeated steps will. A single action doesn't rewire who you are, but consistent, repeated action, small conversation after small conversation, small attempts after small attempts, starts to build a different set of evidence. And remember, your brain runs on evidence. It's always trying to prove something true. Give it new evidence. And eventually it has no choice but to update the story. This is where the phrase momentum equals safety comes from. It sounds counterintuitive because your nervous system is telling you that stillness is safety and movement is risk. But it's actually the reverse. Certainty is not something that arrives before you move. Certainty is something you create by doing. You don't think your way into readiness. You act your way into it. Now let's bring this together. Fear is not a malfunction. It's not proof that something is wrong, or that you're not cut out for something, or that you should turn around. Fear is a signal, and specifically, it's a signal that you are stepping toward the edge of your current limits. That's it. That's all it's telling you. The next time it shows up, right before a hard conversation, right before you hit publish, right before you apply for something that feels slightly out of reach, I want you to try replacing the question, how do I make this feeling go away? With a different question. What is this feeling actually signaling? So instead of asking, how do I make this feeling go away? You rephrase it, reframe it, say, what is this feeling actually signaling within me? 9 times out of 10, it's signaling growth. It's signaling that you're about to step into something that matters. And if that's true, it's not a reason to stop. It's the exact reason to keep going. So here's your action for this week. Pick one thing you've been avoiding because of fear. One conversation, one decision, one small step, and do it anyway. Not because the fear disappeared, but in spite of the fact that it is still there. Decide now. Act now. That's the assumption effect. If this video helped reframe something for you, subscribe for the next one, where we tackling something a lot of people struggle with silently. The belief that your past defines your future. And why that belief is quietly keeping you stuck more than any actual past event ever could. I'll see you in the next video.